Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Our new lecture is Situational Approach to Leadership from the course Educational Leadership and Management. What is situational leadership theory? Very first, we will discuss about it. It was developed in the late 1960s by Dr. Ken Blanchard and Dr. Paul Hersey. Situational leadership theory or situational leadership model. It is one of the related group of two-factor theories of leadership. The fundamental principle of situational leadership theory or model is that there is no single best style of leadership. Effective leadership is task relevant, and the most successful leaders are those who adapt their leadership styles to the performance readiness, means ability, and willingness of the individual or group they are attempting to lead or influence. Effective leadership varies not only with the person or group that is being influenced, but it also depends on the task, job, or function that needs to be accomplished. If we see in this slide that this theory focuses on leadership in situations. Other name is life cycle theory of leadership. Different situation demands different kinds of leadership. If we go to the definition of situational leadership model, situational leadership model is a style in which the leader or the manager must adjust his style to match the development levels of the followers he is leading. I can explain it that situational leadership model is a timeless, repeatable framework for the leaders to match their behaviors with the performance needs of the individual or group they are attempting to influence. Situational leadership model is the most practical on the job tool. The application from the course to the real work environment can begin immediately. Situational leadership is based on the relationship between leaders and followers and provide a framework to analyze each situation based on the performance readiness level that a follower exhibits in performing a specific task, function, or objective. You can see over here that the situational leadership model views leaders as varying their emphasis on task and relationship behaviors to best deal with different levels of followers' maturity. Now we come to leadership style. Leadership style is the behavior pattern of an individual who attempts to influence others. It includes directive, task behaviors, sportive relationship behaviors. The developers of this model means Hersey and Blanchard characterized leadership style in terms of the amount of task behavior and relationship behavior that the leader provides to his followers. Here you can see different leadership styles. You can see over here. First, I tell you that leadership is a fluid practice. We are always changing and improving the way in which we help our direct reports and the company or any organization or institute grows. And the longer we lead, the more likely we will change the way we choose to complete the sentence above. But in order to become better leaders tomorrow, we need to know where we stand today to help you understand the impact each type of leader has on a company or an institute I will explain here four leadership styles according to this theory we are discussing. These leadership styles are S1 directing, S2 coaching, S3 sporting, and S4 delegating. Although so many leadership styles have been discussed, but here we are discussing only four. These are S1, S2, S3, and S4. Again, I repeat that S1 is directing, S2 is coaching, S3 is sporting, and S4 is delegating. The first one is directing. In this style, low directive and low sport behavior is provided. And then comes the coaching S2. When you have a coaching leadership style, you tend to have a consider this approach. A leader who coaches views people as reservoir of talent to be developed. The leader who uses a coach approach seeks to unlock people's potential. Leaders who use this coaching style open their hearts and doors for people. They believe that everyone has power within themselves. A coaching leader gives people a little direction to help them tap into their ability to achieve that they are capable of. Then comes the third S3, that is sporting. The sporting leadership style is used in groups that are not yet comfortable in making decisions, but the followers have the ability to do the job correctly. The leader should support the followers when they are disappointed in progress. In this style, low directive but high sporting behavior is provided to the people. The fourth one is delegating leadership style. The delegating leadership style is the style of leadership where a group leader assigns projects or assignments to their employees. He gives directions, but low sport behavior is given. The employees get to make all decisions and choices which they are then responsible for. I again tell you about the directing leadership style. A directing leadership style incorporates a high degree of focus on task and low degree of focus on the employee or manager relationship. In this leadership style, managers dictate to employees what they must do and expect them to accomplish their task, leaving little room for autonomy. These were four leadership styles according to the theory we are discussing. Again, I tell you that these leadership styles are directing, S1, coaching, S2, sporting, S3, and delegating, S4. Now comes different maturity or development levels of the individual. There are four levels of an individual. These are D1, D2, D3, and D4. Now we explain these maturity or development levels. Individual development has three main stages. These stages are progressive stage, plateau stage, and aggressive stage. Again, I repeat, progressive stage, plateau stage, and a regressive stage. The types of individual development may be grouped into two categories, elementary and complex. The complex type results from combining in different ways of the elementary types. The different levels of development which we are going to discuss over here, these are: in the first development level D1, the competency is low but the commitment is high. You may see in this diagram. Then comes D2. In this level, low to some competence and low commitment. It means commitment is low but competency is low to some higher. In the third level, D3, the competency level is moderate to high but the commitment is variable. Commitment may vary over here. And in D4, the fourth development level, competencies are high and the commitments are high. The D1 is the lower stage, lower level of the individual, and D4 is the higher level of an individual. What are leadership styles? I have already told you that there are different leadership styles which have been described by different researchers. Hersey and Blanchard were advocates of conditional leadership. They believed no single style applied to all situations, and a successful leader would flex their leadership style to their cooperating environment. The sporting leadership style is used in the group that are not yet comfortable in making decisions, but the followers have the ability to do the job correctly. The leader should support the followers when they are disappointed in progress. Leadership styles, which have been characterized by Hersey and Blanchard along four behavioral dimensions, these are S1, that is telling, S2 is selling, S3 is participating, and S4 is delegating. In the S1, telling, high directive and low sportive, also named as directing style. In this style, one-way communication, providing explicit instructions to followers. If we proceed to the S2, selling, high directive and high sportive, also named as coaching approach. In this style, two-way communication, providing support to followers so they feel a part of the decision-making process. Comes S3, participating. In this style, high sportive and low directive, also named as sporting approach. In this approach, the sport is high but the directions are low. In this approach, sharing in the process of decision making is conducted. The fourth one is S4, observing. It is also named as delegating approach. In this approach, low sportive and low directive, where responsibility for decision making is passed on to others. Then developmental levels, I have already explained in that diagram in the previous slides. It is the degree to which subordinates have the competence and commitment necessary to accomplish a given task or activities. In the first development level D1, already discussion has been done, low in competence and high in commitment. In D2, having some competence and low commitment. In D3, high competence but they may lack in commitment. And the last level of development is D4, high competence and high commitment. To the strengths of situational approach. What are strengths or what are benefits of situational approach? The first advantage of situational approach is training leaders. It means that it is well known and frequently used for training leaders. This approach is frequently used in the training procedures. The second one is practical approach, means that situational approach is practical. It is easy to understand and apply across a variety of settings. It can be easily understood. The third one is that leadership effectiveness. It is prescriptive and shows how leaders should act to achieve leadership effectiveness. The last strength of situational approach is that it is flexible leadership. It means it emphasizes leader flexibility. There is not one best style of leadership. Several styles are needed which depend on the requirement of the situation. Then comes the criticism on the situational approach. The development levels are not convincing in this approach. Why should motivational levels go down when the competencies goes up? The other criticism is that competence levels only progress continuously for people doing routine tasks. Then another one is that most people would say they need support depending on the task requirement, the relational context, and their life situations. In easy words, we can say that this approach does not have a strong body of research finding to justify the assumptions and propositions set forth by the approach. It is not clear how subordinates move from low development levels to high development levels and how commitment changes over time for subordinates. This point has not been explained. This model does not address how demographic characteristics affect employees' preferences for leadership. And another one weak point is that it does not provide guidance how leaders can use their model in group setting. The other one is situational leadership. Assessments of leadership effectiveness may classify effective leaders as ineffective if they tend to use the same style across situations, for example, high task, high relation. Then comes the practical applications of situational approach. First one is often used in consulting because it is easy to conceptualize and apply. The second point is straightforward nature makes it practical for managers to apply. The next point is that breadth of situational approach facilitate its applicability in virtually all type of organizations and levels of management in organizations. Although the approaches have contributed to their understanding of leadership, but some authors make difference between the old paradigm models and the new paradigm models. The new models relate to concepts such as charismatic leadership, visionary leadership, and transformational leadership, whereas earlier or older paradigm models see leadership as a process. It means that leadership is only process. It involves influencing others, occurs within a group context, and involves goal attainment. More recent definitions of leadership have emphasized the low role of leader as defining organizational reality.